On Plus TV News now. Nupeng blames federal government for persistent fuel shortage, cautions Independent Marketers Association against price hike. "16 suspects arrested for violence against Zimbabwe opposition candidates." Ukrainian president signs formal request to join the European Union. A very wonderful evening to you. This is News Now. I'm Loretta Chiogo. Residents and motorists in Magburu area and environs of Ogun State are still having a hard time getting petrol to run their businesses and homes in the midst of poor power supply. Our correspondent who monitored the situation reports that a litre of fuel was sold at 200 naira, while those buying the products in jerrycans were told to pay an extra 500 naira. According to an independent marketer who spoke off camera, the product was lifted from the source at 196 naira per litre, therefore could not be sold at the approved pump price of 165 naira, else it would amount to losses for them. And elsewhere in Lagos, some motorists say they suspect the federal government is making move to increase fuel price. Plus TV News correspondent Destiny Momo has more.
These motorists would have been on the queue for hours as they are left with no choice and lamenting the continuous pain they are faced with trying to access fuel for their vehicles.
The situation is very, very unbearable. I've been on the queue over 2 hours now, and I just entered the filling station. In fact, apparently our government is not doing something good for the masses based on this fuel scarcity. Prior to this time, I believe that our refinery is supposed to be effective, 100%. But I don't know why it's not working, and they put somebody.
It's making life even more difficult than it has already been. It's terrible. You know, at first we thought it's something that will linger for maybe 3 days or 4. But now it's taking 2 weeks and more. I won't be surprised if they bring in a new system, a new idea to increase the fuel. I won't be surprised. I think that's what, because people are already getting accustomed to buying it at the rates that is in excess of 200.
I don't really know, but I think it may be because of they want to increase the fuel price. I think that is the reason why the queue is too much.
The price have already changed. It's no longer the 162. It's now 165. Some station you see 162. But by the time you get to the pump, they would use their calculator to do the magic for you. 100, like yesterday, I bought in the Yanapaja 220 naira with calculator. I say no joy, no joy.
Emmanuel, a transporter who claimed to have queued for the better part of the day just to access fuel, says he will charge about 700 naira to Aja from Sandfield just to be able to make a profit.
Oh boy, I person go buy fuel 250 naira. How much passenger person want carry? See how the oh boy me I try me. If I don't carry 700 naira, Jana. If I don't go there, IS.
Meanwhile, the Nigerian Association of Chambers of Commerce, Industries, Mine and Agriculture, NASIMA, had at the weekend called on the federal government and other stakeholders to find a definitive resolution to the lingering fuel queues. The association urged the federal government to stop the importation of petroleum products and take immediate steps at ensuring that all refineries are working in full capacity for a definitive end to the importation of petroleum products. Destiny Mama, PlusTvAfrica.
The Lagos Zonal Chairman of Nupeng has blamed the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation (NNPC) for the persistent fuel shortage in the country. Aboyeji claimed that NNPC has been unable to provide enough fuel for the country. He, however, appealed to the federal government to fix the nation's refineries.
As a union, why are you facing this the price hike? You see, from government said they have not increased the price of product. So why are we facing? Why are we having the hike in price? And that is the reason why the government issued a statement that you should fall back to the old price. The scarcity we are experiencing now is as a result of no availability of the products. Because our member, our branch petroleum tanker driver, they are working 24 hours to make sure that we pick all the available products. As of this morning, just leave 3 depot that have these products, and our members are there picking them. So as long as as far as the the product is concerned of today, we don't have enough petroleum products, especially the PMS. Government has assured us that maybe probably by next week the product will be available. But in another angle to it, that we want to implore government, the federal government, to fix our refinery. The habit of exporting the crude and the refinery that send it back to us is condemnable. It's condemnable. It's not too good at all. When we have 4 refineries that they can be fixed and we can refine locally, we plead with our government to please fix this refinery. We have been shouting all this while, fix the refinery. We didn't say reason why none of our refineries are working.
And to continue the conversation, we're now being joined by Douglas Ike. He's the chairman of the Edo State Depot of the Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria, IPMAN. Mr. Ike, are you with me there?
I'm here with you.
Good evening to you. Now, earlier, Nupeng had issued a statement blaming IPMAN for the hike in price of fuel, saying IPMAN is responsible for that increase. What's your take on this?
Yeah, thank you very much for having me. Our take in it as IPMAN, it is apparently clear that IPMAN has not to be blamed in the fuel hike of petroleum products in the country, because the increment of petroleum products is due to the product, the amount products being bought from the S depots. And for Nupeng to be saying that IPMAN is to be blamed, it's an aberration. For we, if the product in the S depot if the price is affordable, we'll buy the way it's supposed to be. Normally, marketers go to S depot to buy products, and at the end of the day, they get there and the product they're supposed to buy at 145 is now being bought for like 165. You don't expect them to take that product to their station and sell at the same price. So the bank should channel their blame to the S depot price. So it's not IPMAN, because IPMAN as an association, or we as marketers, ours is for us to buy and sell. At the end of the day, if you find out that these people marketers go to the depot to buy products, when they get there, the Nupeng itself, they give out an enormous sum of levy for IPMAN to pay, marketers to pay. At the end of the day, when they pay this amount, getting to their station, to the place of destination, to sell product becomes a problem. In every truck, the profit you get from it is not up to 300,000. If, for example, Nupeng itself as a union is asking marketers to pay at the loading point 50,000 naira per truck, PTD, petroleum tanker drivers, will also come and say they should pay 50,000 naira a truck. These are the same union. The zonal chairman or whoever is the zonal person in that same area will also ask them to pay a sum of 20,000 naira. At the end of the day, you see marketers are paying the sum of about 120,000 naira for levy alone to Nupeng, which is very, very unacceptable. And if marketers as an association, we cannot continue in this way. So that is why you find out that if Nupeng is saying that IPMAN is the one causing the hike of petroleum products, is strong. And for you to know, Nupeng is not the government agency regulatory body that is to check the price hike of any petroleum product being sold in any petrol station. It is the duty of the government agency regulatory body to check and regulate any marketer selling and above pump price. It's not the duty of Nupeng. Nupeng should channel their issues to the depot where this product is being bought. And besides, Nupeng has many issues which they have to conduct themselves, especially their members, who in this country is causing us a lot of issues in the oil industry. Without Nupeng, some of this crude oil theft cannot be channeled from one place to another. Look at, for example, in my area where the depot is in Benin Depot here in NNPC area, some group of persons, members of Nupeng, they were apprehended by NSCDC in a place where they were refining local products. So these are some of the issue challenges we are having as marketers. It is our time the federal government starts going into the activities of Nupeng to checkmate them.
I want to believe that these issues have been on ground even before now that the country is going through this fuel scarcity. These issues have been on ground, and we've been getting fuel at the exact approved pump price of 165 naira. What has changed?
Yeah, well, you can see from the little time that some products that were not up to standard was brought into this country. That vacuum has created a lot of fear into the mind of the people. So that is why you see some of these stations who have this bad fuel that was not up to standard were asked not to sell. So right now, I'm assuring the good citizens of this country that in no time, in a few times, that this thing will be a thing of the past. So right now, because that this increment came up because the vacuum that was there during this time, the product that was brought into this country that was substandard.
Are you saying to us that? Are you saying to us? Sorry to cut you there. Are you saying to us that the landing price of refined fuel
from refining to the S depot, we can also buy from private depots. So ours is for us to buy and sell. For example, we get to a private depot, maybe within this locality there in within the region of between Warri and Edo State, for example, and you get a fuel for the rate of 165, where you used to buy it for 145, because you want to sell, you're in business. All you need to do is for you to buy. So ours is for us to buy and sell. We are not the one who is increasing price. Ours is for us to get this product to the masses, because man as an association is having over 25,000 marketers. If we once cut off from the system without selling product, there will be chaos in this country. So ours is to make sure that the citizens of this country have the opportunity to have product availability in any given time that we want it. So that is our position.
While you're still trying to bridge the gap between the citizens and fuel, so to speak, it means that the citizens are still at the mercy of IPMAN, and I believe PPMC is listening to you right now. That's the regulatory body for pricing, right? So the citizens are still at the mercy of IPMAN if nothing is done in days.
No, the citizens are not really at the mercy of IPMAN. The citizen, as we speak right now, is that we as marketers, our own is to make sure that we sell products. This product is being brought into this country by any business is so important of product into this country. So, IPMAN as marketers, we are doing our possible best to make sure that there's availability of products. If each and every one of us as marketers is staying aloof and say, no, there's no need for us to go into business buying any product because the product has been increased in the S depot, there is no way we can, there's no way we can also sell product, and there's no way the masses can have availability of petroleum product. So for we right now as it is, we are also appealing to the masses that for whatever the price is right now, it's not going to remain this way. It's going to come back to the same price, which is at 165. As far as we know that the federal government is not making any plans in increasing any petroleum product for now. So
thank you. Thank you, Mr. Iyike. Thank you for your time with us on News Now.
God bless you.
We continue with our stories. President Muhammadu Buhari has frowned at the reported inhumane and discriminatory treatments on Nigerians and other Africans denied the right of passage out of Ukraine. In a statement, Garba Shehu said all citizens should be treated with dignity, irrespective of the color of their passports or their skin. According to him, there has been a long history dating back to decades of Nigerians and other Africans studying in Ukraine, particularly medicine. The majority of Nigerian students in the country are university-enrolled students. He added that all who flee the conflict situation have the same right to safe passage under a UN convention. And in the same vein, other African students trapped in Ukraine have said they may face extra challenges as they try to escape. They've been blocked from getting off trains and barred from crossing borders to neighboring countries. Roughly 20% of Ukraine's foreign students are Africans, including 4,000 Nigerians. African activists and students have been raising awareness of their plight through the Twitter hashtag Africans in Ukraine. They've also created a group chat on WhatsApp and Telegram to organize assistance.
Some of my friends are still there and I'm very worried. I text them to know how they're doing, if they have food or water, because right now the stores are closed.
Yeah,
so
and the attacks are getting worse.
Very, very worse. And hopefully they get out of Ukraine safe and no harm comes upon them.
We could see the bomb in the tree where it exploded right near my house. So if I did not leave that day, it would have been a problem for me to leave. And now, as people are trying to leave, the transportation is getting more expensive. They are saying $700 to get to Uzhgorod from Lviv for a taxi. So it's getting really, really expensive.
People have left the city, and if you're quite there alone, it's going to be hard to communicate with people and also get things like I said, resources and all of that.
And a place to sleep.
And a place to sleep, especially.
People haven't slept in days.
Yeah, people haven't slept. And most people go to the underground metros, the metro station, to stay there, and it is very cold, uncomfortable, and it's really not a nice place to be in at night. It is very cold. It is very, very cold in there and not nice to be in.
Yeah.
But we have no choice to stay there because we could hear the bombings in my city.
Air Peace and Max Air may begin the evacuation of Nigerians from Ukraine on Wednesday. This was made known by the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Jeffrey Onyema, during a meeting with the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Femi Gbajabiamila. Onyema said the evacuation would be done following the approval of President Muhammadu Buhari. With Ukraine still at war with Russia and no-fly zone effective across the country, the evacuation is expected to take place from neighboring countries. Earlier, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs said hundreds of Nigerians have been received in Poland, Hungary, and Romania by Nigerian embassies in those countries. And a total of 256 Nigerian nationals have been evacuated from Ukraine and have been received in Romania, Hungary, and Poland. As earlier reported, this is out of a total of about 5,600 Nigerians, the majority of whom are students. The Nigerian government said its diplomatic mission has received 130 citizens from Ukraine at Bucharest and Romania since Sunday, February 27. The Nigerian embassy also said 74 Nigerians were received at Budapest, Hungary, and another 52 in Warsaw, Poland. That's according to the ministry's permanent secretary, Ambassador Gabriel Aduda, in a statement. And in the statement, the ministry explained that it has also provided accommodation for them while arrangements are being made to bring them back home. Away from that, Justice Inyang Ikwo of the Federal High Court in Abuja has decided to grant the bail application of declined to grant the bail application of embattled DCP Abba Kyari. In a ruling, Justice Ikwo said the application had been overtaken by events. This followed an order by a sister court granting the NDLEA's prayers to detain Kyari for another 14 days to enable it to conclude its investigation. Justice Eko held that the sister court, which gave the order in favor of NDLEA on February 22nd, was a court of coordinate jurisdiction. And still from the courts, the Supreme Court will, on May 27, 2022, deliver a final judgment in the legal tussle on the leadership of the All Progressives Congress in Imo State. However, the leadership of the State Executive Committee under Dan Nwafo, believed to be loyal to former Governor Rochas Okorocha, will remain in office to pilot affairs of the party until the judgment is delivered. Justice Olukayode Ariwola, who led a 5-man panel of justices of the court, fixed the judgment date after taking argument for and against the suit. Justice Ariwola announced that all issues raised in the appeal instituted by APC would be properly addressed and arrive at a just conclusion. Robert Emukboro, a senior advocate of Nigeria, while adopting his final brief of arguments, urged the courts to allow the appeal. He also pleaded with the Apex Court justices to reverse the judgment of the Court of Appeal granted in favor of the Dan Nwafo leadership. However, Chidozie Ogundi, counsel to Nwafo in the appeal, urged the Supreme Court to affirm the leadership of his client as the authentic leader of the APC in Imo State. Ogundi asked the Apex Court to dismiss the appeal for lacking in merit and substance and to allow the judgment of the Court of Appeal delivered in favor of Iwerin Leadership Committee. The legal battle for the soul of APC in Imo State started in 2018 when the party conducted ward and local government congress to pick leadership for the party. The president of the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU Emmanuel Sodeke, has vowed that its members will not back down on the current industrial action. He accused the federal government of not keeping to its promises. This is coming more than 2 weeks after ASU declared a 1-month warning strike over the federal government's inability to honor its agreement with the body. According to him, members of the union have sacrificed for the country's educational system, therefore must get their demands met. Sodeke explained that many lecturers have not gone on leave for years as they try to meet up with academic calendar. He debunked claims that varsity teachers were being paid for doing nothing. And we're now being joined by the chairman of ASU, the University of Abuja chapter, Dr. Kasim Umar. Dr. Umar, good to have you join us on News Now tonight.
Good evening.
When will this impasse between ASU and the federal government end?
Well, all depends on the federal government. For government to speed up the negotiation with our union so that all the issues will be resolved. But to our own end, federal government falls for this fight because they refuse to honor the agreement with the timeline set by themselves. So, in our own end, the federal government has the opportunity to resolve this issue within the possible time.
Are you saying that ASU will continue with the strike even after the 1-month warning strike if the federal government is not coming up to the demands?
Well, of course, the strike was declared by National Executive Council of our meeting. After the 1 month, we'll meet again, review the situation, review the progress so far made, and if there's need, we'll do the needful.
So far with your meetings, we do understand that there have been deadlocks in the meetings. Can you brief us on the current situation from the meeting between ASU and the federal government?
Well, the meeting, as far as we are concerned, nothing has been done at all. The issues still remain the way they are, unattended to, and the strike continues. As simple as that.
What exactly is the federal government saying? Why do you think that the federal government is refusing to heed to, these promises, these demands, rather?
Yeah, of course. All the issues involve our timeline. We're over 9 months ago. And we're saying all these issues have not been attended to, despite the 1 month rolling strike. So, of course, they've not done anything.
I am asking, what has the federal government said, about the demands made by ASU? There must be an issue why the federal government is not heeding to the demands. What has the meeting really brought out?
What we are saying, like for instance, the draft agreement on our condition of salary, has it been signed and implemented? The answer is no. The UTAs that could be used to replace the IPPIS, because we are challenged by the federal government to produce it, have it been deployed to the university? The answer is no. So what are we saying? The government has not done anything, and we are still waiting.
So it means before another meeting is convened, it's going to be after the 1 month warning strike, or are we expecting a meeting before the end of the warning strike? Tell us your plans, your agenda.
Of course, that question is expected to be answered by the federal government. Our doors are open for any meeting. Whenever we are called, we will attend the meeting. But the issue is that our demand has to be attended to and implemented.
Thank you, Dr. Umar. Thank you for joining us on News Now. We'll still keep tabs with you.
Thank you. You're welcome.
The leadership of Zone D of the National Association of Nigerian Students, NANS, has decried what they term the lingering impasse between university lecturers and the federal government, saying that the inability of both parties to reach a reasonable compromise over the years has had a negative impact on their lives, as well as prolonged their academic calendar. The aggrieved youths, led by its Southwest coordinator Stephen Tegbe, staged a peaceful protest to drive home their demands, threatening to embark on an indefinite nationwide action. The students, who decried the incessant inability of the Nigerian authorities to honor agreements, promised not to back down until the central government and the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, agree on a way forward for the nation's educational system.
ASU has always been going on strike. We think there should be a more decisive approach to the way ASU are going to channel their demands, in which it is not going to affect our students. Now, if ASU are going on strike, at the same time they are going to get paid in the long run, who is paying Nigerian students that their time has been wasted? Nobody. Who is paying our accommodation that is becoming so long? Nobody. The landlords are chasing us out of the houses and the rooms that we have to leave the house. Yes. In which our parents and wards, they have paid for a particular time that in which we are supposed to spend in school.
Nigerian students, we are saying no to this ASU strike. If we are to go back to 1999, ASU have been strike since almost 6 years now, and it is costing us our future. It is delaying us our future. We are saying we are future and we are the leaders of tomorrow. But today we are still students of our different institutions.
Meanwhile, in a related development, the National Association of Nigerian Students, NANS, in Kano, also staged a protest to show their infuriation over the delay in students' academics caused by the ongoing nationwide strike embarked upon by ASU. Thousands of students took to the streets of Kano with placards in a peaceful protest, singing solidarity songs and calling on both parties to reach a compromise. The past coordinator of Nance Zone A, Abdurrahman Bala, who spoke with Plus TV News, said there wasn't any backing out as the protest was just a registration of their agitation, adding that Nance would continue to engage with stakeholders to see an end to the incessant strike in the country. The Akarigbo and paramount ruler of Remo Land, Babatunji Ajayi, says Nigeria needs a good leader to emerge as the president in the forthcoming election. He was speaking when a group of youths called Act Now visited him to show their support for the vice president, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, who they are calling upon to run the presidential race.
We're even very lucky in Africa. God has tried to make sure that most of our problems, God has solved it. We can't get it right. I am I think was you talking today, or who said Nigeria is one president away. That's a very good way of from being a superpower. Even if you are not a superpower, let's even just be okay. Let us even have food. Let us have water. Let us have road. Let us have rail. Let us be able to turn by chest and say, look, this is our country.
The group also lauded the vice president's achievements as they pledged their unflinching support for him.
You know, politics is a very interesting game. And one of the interesting things about politics is what? Is suspense. And we like the way the suspense is. And we want to continue the suspense. Thank God that the primaries is going to happen in the next 2 months. But you are going to see very, very just wait for interesting times around. Interesting things are going to happen.
Enemies we have faced they've come from various places. For instance, at the beginning of the government, oil prices were very low. We also had the COVID, which a recession that affected everywhere, all parts of the world. And you can see that as leader of the economic management team, he was able to be able to lead and preside over the affairs of the economic management team and take Nigeria out of recession in record time in 2016.
A former presidential candidate, Adamu Gaba, says the zoning of political offices does not give Nigerian leadership value. Gaba, who has also declared his intention to run for the presidency in 2023, stated this when he featured on Plus Politics earlier this evening. He pointed out that disunity was a cause of the agitations in the country.
I believe that zoning was created by our fathers, the founding fathers, I can say, of this modern democracy, as a way to ensure every other member of the country or every other group from north to south is able to participate in leading the nation. However just and fair it may look, it does not really translate into the value for ordinary Nigerians. If you notice in this country from 1999 to date, you have 2 presidents come from the north and 2 presidents come from south. When the first president comes from the south, you have OPC and Niger Delta militancy that brought about killing of so many people in the south. And so many problems, again, comes to happen from the south. Even though we have the president coming from the south, having non-competent structure around entitlement is what breaks, not makes the country. Majority of the agitations we are seeing today in Nigeria is because our man and their man, my people and their people, us versus them. And what amplifies this us versus them scenario is actually the so-called money. I'm not saying that they are not competent people from the south, but somebody cannot come and be contesting from the south on the basis that he is coming from the south. Somebody should not be contesting for Nigerian president from the north on the basis that he is coming from the north. Nigerian president should be somebody that is giving a proposition that is agreeable, acceptable, and that will add value to each and every Nigerian. That is the only way we can move forward as a country. We can't be a single country along different lines of division that was done by colonial masters for a divide and rule to keep thriving.
On Street Views, fuel situation yet to improve as Nigerians buy product above the pump price of 165 naira. Fuel queues also persist.
Government should do something to this fuel scarcity because it cannot continue like this. Because people will suffer for it. People are suffering for it.
Things are bad because of that scarcity of fuel. People cannot move to one another to do their own business. So, if they can do something about it.
I traveled to OK Mercy on Saturday. There is no NNPC filling station sell fuel from Ikodu to Ekiti. Our leader, they know what is where Nigeria is today. We are sleeping with fear. We are running on fear. We dey filling station on fear. This is not. It's not supposed to be like that.
By now, we should be talking about building and restoring our infrastructures. The major one there is the refinery. So if you want to see any sincere government, they have to put our refineries back to workable position. This is unforgiving for all the leaders of Nigeria. We're talking about a nation over 200 million without a refinery. We probably have to go back to the likes of Qatar, to the likes of Dubai, nations that are on their knees in the early 70s, late 70s, even early 80s, begging us.
Drivers find it harder to get petrol, and as a result, bus fares are higher. And also at home, to get petrol for your generator is a bit harder now and more expensive. If we do not import petrol, if we make our petrol, there will probably be better ways of ensuring the quality is good.
I hope the people here will listen, the people who distribute the fuel, and at least they will do the needful. We don't have to make life difficult for each other. I think they can do better.
Still ahead on the news, at least 20 dead in northeastern DR Congo. Details when we return.
This is it for upcoming artists to blow in Nigeria.
Welcome to Plus Trending. I am Buki November, your host, saying thank you for joining us on today's episode.
Welcome back. It's tea time on PlusTvAfrica.
Practice makes perfect. I'm not perfect yet, but I'm a lot better than I used to be.
He's a king. He's entitled to marry 100 if he wants to.
From other parts of Africa, at least 16 suspects have been arrested by Zimbabwean police in connection with the violence that left 22 people injured and 1 dead at an opposition rally. The police said the attackers were activists from the ruling ZANU-PF. The opponents were on their way to the venue where the leader of their party, Nelson Chamisa, the main rival of President Emerson Mnangagwa and his ZANU-PF, which has been in power since independence, was to speak. And at least 20 civilians have been killed in an attack in the Democratic Republic of Congo. Suspected ADF militants murdered residents from the village of Kikura in southeastern part of the country. The ADF, a Ugandan militia, has reportedly killed thousands of civilians in eastern Congo since 2013. A spokesman for Congo's army said soldiers in the area were caught unawares as it was carried out without firearms. The locality of Bene in the North Kivu province has been under a state of siege since May 2021. Authorities in northern Ethiopia's Tigray region are warning of a deteriorating humanitarian situation and have blamed a government-imposed blockade for increasing levels of hunger. The rebel Tigray People's Liberation Front TPLF welcomed the recent government's decision to allow emergency medical and food aid to be flown in, but said the quantities were too small to meet the vast needs of the population. About 16 months of war have left 9 million people in need of food aid in 3 regions. The West African Regional Bloc ECOWAS has condemned Russia's invasion of Ukraine, urging both parties to agree to a ceasefire and to resolve the crisis through dialogue. ECOWAS called on the 2 countries to ensure the safety of Africans living in Ukraine. This is coming as Russia and Ukraine began face-to-face talks for the first time since Russian forces entered Ukraine 5 days ago. Ukraine's delegates have said they want an immediate ceasefire and withdrawal of troops from their territory, while Russia's negotiators have talked of a deal that's in the interests of both sides. Students crossing the border from Ukraine to Poland have said the route was difficult as they faced scuffles and cold weather. Prince Angel from Congo, who is studying engineering in Kyiv, said he felt he was shunned when arriving to the Polish border, while another foreign student, Eli Boma, said they were being exposed to cold temperatures and condemned not being offered shelter when they arrived in Poland. Cities under siege across Ukraine are home to tens of thousands of African students studying medicine, engineering, and military affairs. And outside Africa, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky says he had signed an official request for Ukraine to join the European Union, saying leaders may discuss the possibility of Ukrainian membership at an informal summit in March. A senior EU official says it was important for Ukraine to discuss with Russia on ending the conflict. The chairman of EU leaders, Charles Michel, and the head of the European Commission, Ursula von der Leyen, will meet French President Emmanuel Macron and German Chancellor Olaf Scholz in Paris later to talk. Ukrainian presidential advisor Podolak says officials from Russia and Ukraine have ended the peace talks and will return to their respective capitals for further consultations before the second round of negotiations. The Ukrainian president's office had said that talks began with the aim of an immediate ceasefire and the withdrawal of Russian forces, but Russia has been eager about the talks, with the Kremlin declining to comment on Moscow's aim. It was not clear whether any progress could be achieved after Russian President Vladimir Putin put Russia's nuclear-armed units on high alert on Sunday. U.S. Undersecretary for Arms Control and International Security Bonnie Jerkins has said that Russia would be held accountable for its invasion of Ukraine as Kiev and its allies push for a probe into possible war crimes. Speaking at the Geneva-based conference on disarmament, Jenkins said there must be consequences for Russia's unprovoked war.
European and global security is in jeopardy, and the benefits of the global economy for all of us put at risk because of Russia's actions. Distinguished representatives, we must send a clear and collective message to Russia. The territory of a sovereign state cannot be forcibly seized. No country has a veto over another security partner's or political path, and military aggression, disregarding a country's territorial integrity, will not be ignored.
Well, first of all, there are various discussions taking place here at the Human Rights Council on this investigative mechanism. There are other engagements we're having, including with the ICC, amongst others, to ensure there is accountability for those crimes that are being committed every hour, every day on the sovereign territory of Ukraine.
Up next, National Bureau of Statistics says federal government collected 1.69 trillion naira as company tax in 2021. That's in business news after this short break. Last-minute intervention by the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation (NNPC) and the Nigerian Port Authority (NPA) has shelved the planned industrial action by the Maritime Workers Union of Nigeria against the International Oil Companies (IOCs) for their failure to comply with the extant regulation of 2014. In a statement signed by the President General and Secretary General Prince Adewale Adeyanju and Felix Akimboye, the leadership of the union cited interventions by the management of the Nigerian Port Authority and the Nigerian Shippers Council as the reason for the suspension of the planned industrial action. Recall that the imbroglio, which commenced in 2019, is yet to have a headway due to the failure of the IOCs to yield to the demands of the union. Also recall that the Honorable Minister of Transportation, Rotimi Amechi, had intervened where he gave 7 days ultimatum to the IOCs without attendant success. But in what seems to be another benefit of doubt, the union's leaders said it has decided to give the IOCs time to complete all processes to comply with the law. Now for more business stories, let's join Mercy Eboko.
You're welcome to the business news. I am Adebahanke Odunoi. The federal government raked in 1.69 trillion naira from company income tax in 2021, according to statistics from the National Bureau of Statistics. This is a 19.56% increase from the 1.41 trillion naira that was collected in 2020. According to the NBS data, the federal government raked in 392.77 billion naira during the first quarter of 2021, 472.07 billion naira in the second quarter, 472.52 billion naira in the third quarter, and 347.81 billion naira in the fourth quarter of 2021. The NBS said in quarter one of 2021, breweries, bottling and beverages generated the highest amount of CIT with 23.26 billion naira generated, and closely followed by professional services. That included telecoms, which generated 18.717 billion naira, state ministries and parastatals generated 17.35 billion naira, while textile and garment industry generated the least. The Independent Petrol Marketers Association of Nigeria and the Nigerian Union of Petrol and Natural Gas Workers are at loggerheads over the pump price of petrol. As fuel scarcity is worsening in many parts of the country, many fuel stations increased the pump price of petrol to more than the official 165 naira per litre. NUPENG issued a 24-hour ultimatum to IPMAN members on Sunday to revert to the official pump price of 165 naira per litre of petrol. However, IPMAN says that directive is not within NUPENG's purview. In Bayelsa, for instance, the price of a litre of petrol went as high as 300 naira per litre. Chairman IPMAN Benin Depot, Mr. Douglas Iyike, stated on Monday in Lagos that NUPENG's ultimatum was misplaced. The Nigerian Shippers Council's intervention to stop the Maritime Workers Union of Nigeria planned to shut down Lagos, Onne and other seaports across the country proved abortive. In a meeting with the council's management over the weekend, the union insisted on shutting down the seaport on Tuesday. They said the IOCs have repeatedly disregarded the federal government's directives on the issue under discussion. The exchange rate between the Naira and the US dollar closed at 416 Naira to $1 at the official investors and exporters I&E window. The exchange rate at the I&E window appreciated marginally on Friday at 416 Naira to $1. That represents a 0.06% gain compared to 416.25 to $1 recorded in the previous trading session. A total of $134.39 million in FX value was traded on Friday, which is 97.4% higher than the $68.08 million that exchanged hands in the previous trading session. This brings the total FX turnover in the week to $571.1 million, which is higher than the $493.7 million recorded in the previous week. And that is the business news. I am Adibanke Odunui. The news continues.
And from the sports scene, we move on to the entertainment scene.
Popular actor Lateef Adedimeji has said he is prepared for any backlash for acting as the national leader and presidential candidate of the All Progressive Congress, Bola Tinubu. Adedimeji, who is currently on the set of the movie titled Last Man Standing, said, "There will be a lot of misconceptions, especially with everything that is happening now. However, I am prepared for whatever may happen because I am only doing my job. May God see me through." He also said that he believes the role will be one of the defining moments of his career, adding that although he has never met Tinubu in person, he has done a lot of research and is ready to give it his best shot. Nollywood actress Adesua Etomi has taken to social media to open up about what it means to be a child of God. She said, "Being a child of God will test any Christian, but they should rest confident that it would only make them better." Adesua went on to enumerate the advantages and benefits of being put to the test, which entails learning, patience, love, peace, kindness, caring, goodness, and a slew of other virtues. And on the international scene, Meghan Markle and Prince Harry have been presented with the President Award in recognition of special achievement and distinguished public service at the NAACP Image Awards through their Atwell Foundation. The couple has supported efforts to tackle the COVID-19 pandemic in addition to focusing their attention on the Black Lives Matter movement and fighting for racial justice. Meghan also noted that she couldn't be prouder of their efforts together. Among those who received the honor in the past were Muhammad Ali, Jesse Jackson, Colin Powell, Condoleezza Rice, LeBron James, and Rihanna. Kanye West has responded to Kim Kardashian's recent claim of causing emotional distress by spreading misinformation on social media. The Donda artist challenged Kim Kardashian to prove that is the one who made the post. According to court documents filed by Kanye's lawyer, Kim claims she read something online, allegedly by Kanye, and characterizes the post in a declaration as misinformation.
And from the sports scene, let's join Mikhail Tinubu.
Hello and welcome to Sports News on PlusTvAfrica. England's Football Association said on Sunday, February 27th, the England football team will not play any matches against Russia for the foreseeable future. to wholeheartedly condemn the atrocities being committed by the Russian leadership after its invasion of Ukraine. Other countries, including Poland and Sweden, have also announced they will not play football matches against Russia. Now, world #1 player and Australian Open champion Ash Barty visited Australia's iconic Uluru Rock and gave some tennis lessons to local Indigenous children in her role as Tennis Australia's First Nations ambassador. Barty taught young children how to strike a ball with a racket on the red sand near Uluru and at a tennis club in nearby Alice Springs. Barty said she enjoyed teaching the sport to children, some of whom had never picked up a racket before. Barty is herself Indigenous. Her father claims Ngarigo ancestry through one of his grandmothers. Indigenous Australians suffer disproportionately from many debilitating health issues, such as type 2 diabetes and heart disease, conditions where regular exercise can make a big difference.
This has been today an experience that is as much for me as it is for the kids, and I think there are so many communities. These kids today, there's 15, 16 kids that had never picked up a tennis racket. Just a couple of days ago was the first time they picked up a racket, and I think providing that opportunity is so exciting for me, and that's part of my role is to provide those opportunities to help kids get involved in the sport, because that's what lights me up the most, is seeing them smile, try something new for the first time and do it. It reminds me of what it was like for myself, and as much as it is for them trying something new, selfishly, I love it and I get probably more out of it than they do, and I just love coming here and providing that opportunity for youth all around the country that's not just in remote areas, but just in areas that haven't had the opportunity to try something new.
A fourth quarter disaster for the Golden State Warriors saw Steve Kerr's men waste a 19-point lead at the Chase Center, with the Dallas Mavericks claiming a 107-101 win. The Warriors had begun brightly and had a 13-point lead by the end of the first quarter, and a double-double from Steph Curry along the way pointed towards a home win. The visitors slowly fought back, however, eventually taking the final quarter 33-13. Luka Doncic also produced a double-double with a game-high score of 34 points and 11 rebounds.
As long as they understand how they play, understand your role in this team, you will succeed and you will fit in just like any other starter. Curry, the three! Steph drives, lays it in. Phenomenal for Golden State. Here's Looney to Wiggins, open three, good. And it's just ball movement up and down. Block. Got it back, gets it up with 1 second left. Hands setting the screen. One, because the floor is wide open. Finney Smith he's been more physical, like Jason Kidd has wanted. Luka to Finney Smith, and he lays it. That's 27, Dinwiddie 24. Here's Doncic off the glass. We've told you over the last 11 games, he's averaged.
That's all the sports news we have for you for now. Join us next time. My name is Mokail Tinubu. Have a good night.
That's the news now. Thanks for riding with us tonight. For more stories, please follow us at PlusTvAfrica on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And do subscribe to our YouTube channel at PlusTvAfrica and PlusTvAfrica Lifestyle. I'm Loretta Chiogo. Have a wonderful night rest.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Tea Time, the entertainment show that gives you proper insight to all the trending entertainment topics. My name is Elile, and today with me is the beautiful, beautiful Belema. So, what's up, Belema?
I'm good. Good morning.
Why did you? I'm good.
Because you have to, give that sense of relief.
You know, it's the start of a new week. How was your weekend? What did you do this weekend? Feel me and tell me.
My week has been busy. I've been cooking, going to the market.
Are you a chef?
You
have been cooking, but I've not been seeing. You have not been sharing workings here.
Don't worry.
Don't bring food
don't
for
worry.
us.
That one I can promise you. I can promise you at least 2 dishes.
Oh.
I can promise you that.
I am going to hold you onto that. I will not forget.
You look very beautiful, my darling.
Thank you, as do you. You know, it's one thing that we the girls here, we share. Very beautiful and stunning people. Okay, so do not forget that you can now join the conversation by calling in on 09098408408 to share your opinions on trending discussions. I'm going to take that again. 09098408408. So yes, call in and please share your opinions on the things we're going to be talking about today. So you know how we always do here. We bring to you trending videos and of course want to know what you guys think. So let us take a look at our first trending video for today.
Oh, okay. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
You feel like nobody cares sometimes?
Oh, yeah. That's exactly how my life is right now.
I'm thinking of you, okay?
Thank you.
Oh, you scared me. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm okay. What's going on? You okay?
Yeah, I just lost my